There was a game in which I faced down a sliver deck that actually was able to get going and build up his sliver army. And he had quite an army, actually. I'm playing Edric, and Edric does not like an army of creatures who all share abilities and pump each other up, as you'll soon see. So, early game, my opponent plays his Crypt Sliver, and I have to waste a map, sort of waste, to go get a tropical island. I'm not going to be able to get a cradle with it. My opponent is Hive Stirrings, pretty nice card, getting a couple of 1/1s. Now, with all of his guys regenerating, other than GTA, the chances of getting through his little army there is very, very low. So, hoping that he has the answer to my dilemma, I bribery him, and here's what I see. And I'm not really familiar with all of the new slivers. But, I mean, he's basically just playing every card that says sliver. However, the newer ones do... I thought about getting this opposition and realized I'd be insane! Some of the slivers do have, say, you control, the newer ones. So, I'm able to get one of the newer... So there's a good example from M14. So I'm able to get one of the newer ones, and I decide that my best bet here is just to get Boneside Sliver, which is all slivers get double strike. It means that if I can hit him with it, with an Edric, that's great, and if I can't, it's just a solid threat. On defense, it's a solid wall, basically, because I mean, I'm not going to be able to get through Crypt Sliver. So I've got a 2/2 double striking regenerator. So next turn I draw Glen and decide to spend my mana this way. I Sylvan for a forest. And then I was trying to decide, does he have a red mana and is he going to play Sliver Overlord? And if he does, what happens? Should I tap out here or not? So before deciding, I just clamp my Ranger and draw a Mana Crypt. So I brainstorm for even more options and decide that I'm going to put back Mana Crypt for now and a Wasteland for now, since I've already played a land. And I can play Edric, and I decide I'm going to go ahead and just take a risk here. I've got the Metamorph though, so here's the deal. I actually want him to play a red and cast his Overlord, because if he does, I'm going to Metamorph clone it, and then I'm going to steal it, and then I'm going to start stealing all of his guys. So that is my game plan now. The game plan is live long enough for him to play his own Overlord, which will kill him. Just another reason why Overlord is just so much worse than Sliver Queen. So anyway, now all these creatures have Vigilance, and they tap to regenerate, so major pain here, because he can swing with them and block and regenerate all in the same turn if he wants to, but still not a huge threat. And since he decided not to play the Overlord there, I decide that I'm going to attack his mana a little bit. Most of the slivers, when I spun through his deck that I would have found to be a pain in the butt, the Crystalline Sliver, are blue, or the opposition sliver, double blue, so I wanted to keep him off blue. Plus, it's just a general good practice to keep your opponent off blue mana. So he has a Cyclonic Rift for a Boneside Sliver, which I can't allow to happen. I don't need him having a bunch of double strikers too, so I have to counter that. So since the option to counter his Overlord is now gone, I go ahead and just tap some mana out and get down with Edric and perfect. So I go. Not that I intend to really be swinging with Edric, but it's just a 3/3 wall. I mean, long term, the plan here is to win with Cyclonic Rift. If you have 44 ways to go get it, or some other, or his own Sliver Overlord, clone it, and then take all his guys. So either one of those is kind of the long term plan. And I'm feeling pretty good since I'm moded up. I mean, even if he gets opposition Sliver, it's not a huge deal or anything. I'm just going to keep playing guys till he's overrun. And then he plays this, which I did not see when I went through his deck, so he had it in his hand. All slivers he control deal 1 damage to target creature or player when they attack. and they'll have vigilance, and they'll regenerate. So from here, I would say the possibility of me winning this game dropped to nearly 0. Because here they come. There's nothing holding him back from attacking with all 4 and dealing damage however he wants. So he shoots his own guy, which for some reason I'm totally just like not thinking about. I could have Crypt Sliver to regenerate. This was a misplay on his part. But it's followed by a misplay on my part when I let it go. So, oops, and I mentioned that over on the right. I realized, oops. Just not used to slivers. Especially, like, normally, I know with slivers everything has everything, but because these new, like, slivers you control is mixed in with the all slivers stuff, it makes it really, really hard to keep track of. I freaking hate the fact that they did this. Anyway, so I throw a couple blocks in, and of course he regenerates when we end the turn. So in like very short order, I'm pretty much doomed. So what I do for this turn is witness for expedition map, play the map, and kill it to go get the cradle that I wanted to get earlier. Because all I can really do now is hope to draw, hope to get enough guys on the ground to just slow down the destruction of my army, and get and stall until he plays Sliver Overlord, which hopefully will be soon, and then from there I can steal it and start recovering. But before I do anything else, I decide to eat a witness, and look at that. Look at that. So I've got mana floating. I wish I had used perfect before I cradled, but now that I need the blue, I'm glad I didn't. So I'll position and make a token and say go. So this is going to slow down 2 of his direct damage effects. The opposition will. But more importantly, I have a game plan, because next turn, Green Sun Zenith is in my hand. And there's a cradle in play. So before he attacks, I go ahead and just tap down his guys, and then he's gonna kill up to 2 of my guys if he's smart, and he is. He kills the I don't know why I'm lagging so bad. He kills Imperious Perfect, and he kills the formerly 2/2 Finhorn Elves, which I agree with. That's definitely the right call for him there. And then from his side of the table, playing Silver Overlord is the right call. And unfortunately for him, that is the right play. Fortunately for me, it's also the right play on my side. And so, despite an army of regenerating, doesn't tap to attacking, deal 1 damage to target creature or playering slivers on my opponent's side of the table, once again, the Edric deck has not come short on mana, and when it doesn't just get hosed by the once in a blue moon mana flood / mana famine, the deck wins. It always wins. Like I'm serious. Like the deck just has never lost to anything except itself and bad luck. And as always, of course, Deranged Tournament ends games. It always seems to be, you've probably heard me say it before, but it's always Deranged Tournament or Trastodon coming out or being in play when these games end. It's just so consistent with this deck. Anyway, down comes the Overlord. I steal his Thorncaster Sliver right now, so that I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's only Sliver creatures you control, after all. And with the remaining 3 mana, I steal his Overlord. And I choose to keep his Overlord and get rid of my clone. That way, if I get a regrowth, I can regrow it and do something nicer. And also, this way, he won't have an Overlord floating, threatening to come into play when he gets enough mana, which he will not be getting. So, during his upkeep, holy moly, this lag is atrocious. There we go. I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, during his upkeep I tap him down. And I mentioned to him I think Sliver Queen's a lot better than Sliver Overlord. This is just one reason why. I mean, having an army of pinging, regenerating, nut vigilance guys is going to win the game. You don't need to go searching through your library for a Sliver who now costs 3 more mana to cast. And the fact that this has your own doom as part of the creature, the fact that plenty of people play control magics and theft and everything, and if they get a hold of this, your entire deck just loses, makes this way too dangerous to play. Sliver Queen's the only choice in the Sliver deck. Anyway, it wouldn't have saved him, I don't think, since opposition would have just taken control of the game. But at least he would have been able to keep his guy. So, hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. And for the curious, before we get any further, I will show you the deck list. It's a bit of a slow recording there. This is what I currently have. I've added Spiketail Hatchling at Brian's emphasizing it is a powerful card, and in the few games I've gotten it, it's completely dominated the early game. Like this thing comes down, it's almost like a little flying time walk. You play him, your opponent doesn't want their spell countered, so they don't cast any spell at all, and you just take a free turn, and then a few turns later you counter something anyway. It's completely amazing. There's almost no playing around it. You have to basically let something get countered. You just have to. And the worst part about it is that when you let something get countered, you're spending all of your mana. Your opponent is spending either the 2 that they spent to play it or none. So I didn't really get how good it was, but now I'm totally sold. And I am testing from Theros, Bow of Nylea. This may not make it. This may not stick around, but for now, attackers have Death Touch, so basically my guys all reward me for doing what Edric wants me to do with them anyway, against any kind of a ground stall. And then for 2 mana, you can tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature, deal 2 damage to a flyer, gain 3 life, or take 4 cards from my graveyard and put them on the bottom of my library. The last ability is pretty useless unless Rift is in the graveyard and I have, like, say, Merchant Scroll in my hand. Then I could put Rift on the bottom and then go scroll for it, but generally useless. Putting a +1/+1 counter is pretty slow, but the constant threat of being able to do that makes blocking pretty hard. 2 damage to flyers is only good when they have flyers, but when it is, of course, it's awesome. And attackers have Death Touch. I don't know. The card seems solid. I'll be interested in any thoughts anyone has about it. It may be a good card for a different deck. It may be a much better card in a deck like Omnath or something, where you're not really swarming, making it impossible for them to block, and really difficult for them to attack it. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have a place anywhere. I guess we'll just have to see. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.